Què tal? Bueno, continuem aquesta jornada sobre música, sobretot en viu, amb focus a països escandinaus. Soc la Neus Mèlic. Des de l'estiu passat treballo a l'ICEC a l'oficina de Berlín. Abans estava aquí a Headquarters, com acostumo a dir, al Servei de Desenvolupament Empresarial. I'm gonna switch into English right now. I'm really happy to be here and honored to share this panel with these three colleagues from the Nordic countries. I'm going to introduce them shortly, and I will ask them, please, that they enter more into details. I think it's better. You can do it better than me, for sure. Here on my right, I have Riitta Huttunen. Yeah. Hello, Riitta. I want to say you thank you again for the last-minute invitation that you could make it to join us, because we contacted with her last week, and I really appreciate that. Riitta, to sum up her profile, she's a music consultant with a large background as a musician, first of all, and then she's been in the board or working for public bodies regarding music, and we will talk a little bit about that. Also, booker, manager. I think the profile of Riitta could be very useful for most of you that are looking for work in other countries, now in Scandinavia, as a consultant, trying to find new opportunities, working to the details. So let's gonna move over that in a while. At the end, I want to introduce Alice Bernsten. She is half Belgian, half Norwegian. So she has also a background in Belgium, in the music field also. The last year she has created her own company called Wonderland. She is also a consultant company. So, you can obviously you can process in a while. And she is working mainly with independent music. No, independent music, new bands, new groups, new artists, connecting with new audiences also. So I think her advice could be also very useful. And last but not least, I'm very honored to share also the panel with Jan Ole. Jan Ole, hi. He is a professional, a music professional, I would say, for a long while connecting with the jazz scenario from Norwegian. Right now he's in charge of a venue in Victoria, and he's programming more than 200 gigs per year. Yeah, so he could give us and share with us a lot of advice regarding obviously music and with a focus of jazz professionals. So I think we have a very holistic panel. We can it could be very, very, very useful. And obviously we are going to talk about similar topics as in the first panel, but I think we can enrich ourselves with other points of view. So first of all, what I would ask you guys is if you want to explain a little bit more deeper about your profile, your background. So you can start, Riitta, if you want. But
can we first know who are you?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Sorry, because they asked me, and I was also interested because we don't know your profiles. If you can please send us, for instance, how many promoters, bookers, venues, artists directly, media maybe. So if you can just, I can ask the profile, and you can raise your hand. Bookers, okay, and managers. Okay, and managers from local artists or a little bit of everything? A little, what does it mean? Local? Yeah, local? Yeah, see? Okay. Media or yeah? Okay. Venues, festivals? Okay, super. It's also important the genre, no? The genre.
Musicians.
Yeah, the music.
Artists.
So, two, three? Okay. And talking about pop rock, jazz, classical, pop rock in general or independent, yeah. On jazz, okay, good, yeah, a little bit, yeah. World music, yeah, okay, see? We want to ask them anything else, or we can, it's good to have the whole picture. Yeah, it's a mix.
Okay.
totally. Yeah. So
shall we start? Okay, does it work?
Oh, okay. Hello. So yeah, I'm Alice. So I started my musical career in Belgium, where I worked as a production assistant for Botanic, which is one of the two nicest venues in Brussels. So I started in live industry, and then when I moved back to Norway a few years later, I chose to start on my own and try to help bands by helping them with advices and doing some consulting. And then I started to manage bands because it was just happened like that. That was the next step. And so I managed 2 Norwegian bands from Bergen. Yeah, I'm based in Bergen, by the way, Norway. And now just for last year I started to work also because of I noticed I came from the Belgian music industry, and I found out that there's a lot of good bands from Belgium that people in Norway hadn't heard of, and vice versa. And I wanted to help them to get heard if possible. So I started something I called artist service. Now I started to test it with a Belgian band called Dance Dance. So what I do, I talk with the manager because it's much more easier for me to get somebody coordinating. When we talk about export, maybe I take too much time, but I think it's interesting. When we talk about export, it's interesting to have somebody coordinating a strategy, a plan, and so on. And I've experienced that some artists are good at it, but we talked about, Alexandra talked about time. Especially if you're an artist, you don't have time to do that. That's why we have managers and so on. So I prefer to have somebody I can talk to coordinate this. Otherwise, I would maybe say, well, it's not worth doing it. So yeah, so I talk with the manager and see if there's something we can do in Norway, if there's a band from Belgium, for example. And then we decide if there's something we want to do, it's worth doing, and when, and actually assist the plan, the strategy plan in Norway, and get her. Well, it's manager Dance Dance is a girl, and try to get her to find the right person to talk to, so that she doesn't need to use too much time for that. So it's a mix of consulting because it's advice and facilitating and connecting work, but at the same time to get them on the territory, have them book some shows so that they also have the possibility to reach the Norwegian market in a way. Yeah.
Okay, do I have to
push? Here, yeah. Hello, do you hear me? I'm Riitta, and thanks for the invitation.
Welcome.
I'm first time in Barcelona, and this has been one of my dream destinations ever. So, yes. My background, I'm a musician. I graduated from Sibelius Academy as a kantele player, and kantele is our national instrument, and I did some tours and I played as a freelance musician, and then I lost my passion to music totally. And then I found out that my main instrument is phone. I love to use my phone. I love to do my phone calls. I hate emails, but I would love to talk on the phone. And then I worked in several institutions or associations, Kantele Association, Folk Music Association. And then I put my own company, and at the same day, Tuomo Tähtinen from Music Finland called me that could you work for us for a short period in Music Finland? And then I said yes, because I wanted to see that side of the business as well. And so I ended up working there like almost 2 years, and that's how I got into jazz. I got to know all the Finnish jazz people and also internationally. And after that, I was thinking of what's next, and then we did with my colleague, we did some research that what do the musicians need, and then last September we put up a own consultancy as well, and musicians can hire us for project-based work for if it's PR or touring. I'm also a life coach, so it's mentoring and coaching. And all, whatever actually. And then half time of my job is I work for a small agency and management in jazz, which is Anna-Maja Music Company. Yeah, that's in short.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Jan Ole. I've been working with promoting music since 1969. For many years as on voluntary basis, the last 15 years on professional basis. First 13 years for Molde Jazz Festival, the oldest and biggest and maybe the most important in Norway. 6 days in July, doing 150 concerts, from small things to big pop rock crossover things. The last 3 years I've been the managing director and booker at Nasjonal Jazzscene, a venue in Oslo called Victoria. We do 4 shows per week, year-round, closed during the middle of the summer. And we present everything from new upcoming artists to big names in jazz and jazz-related music. We have a few networks that we are working with. A Norwegian network of jazz clubs, 6 to 8 clubs that we sometimes coordinate tours to. We do a Scandinavian network with Copenhagen, Stockholm, Gothenburg, Oslo, so it's 4 clubs. And we also from time to time work with European clubs like the Bimhaus in Amsterdam, Stadtgarten in Köln, and so on. I'm also a member of the board of the European Jazz Network, which is an international network for jazz festivals, jazz club promoters, and so on, having close to 110 members, but none from Spain. So we're looking for members in Spain to attend the Europe Jazz Network. It's an important meeting place and a place to learn about the whole business. So I hope someone from Spain will attend and be a member of the Europe Jazz Network.
Okay, cool. If you want, we can continue with this because we were talking. We are going to share with you like some main festivals or professional meetings in the Nordic countries. Well, that could be like the small windows or first window to knock on the door and to enter if you want to work there. So, Jan, you have just shared this networking of jazz. I think it's a good opportunity, but I don't know if you want to share any other name or like this festival is like, wow, you have to go there, maybe not performing, just attend and then see what's going on there and talk with the professionals or events that have a professional part also.
Yes, so if it's more like independent music or pop rock and all those genres, so not talking about jazz or classical or world. Earlier was mentioned Bylarm in Norway, which is I think then we said that if you're lucky you can get, because now they open for foreign bands, you can get a band there. But anyway, if you are as a delegate can go, it's also interesting because the whole industry will be there. The thing is that this is my point of view, is Bylarm is so big that if it's your first time, you don't have any connection there. Of course, you can try and get meetings and so on. But it exists also, there's a lot of different conference festivals where you can meet the business in Norway, like Trondheim Calling, where it's smaller and then it's maybe easier to connect with the people that are present. Bergens is also this year having the first edition of a conference festival. It's only for Norwegian bands that can apply and play, but again, you can meet also the business. It's called Vill Vill Vest, and it's in September. Maybe that's already.
We will share with you in the next days all this info, so don't worry about the names. I will ask them to give it to me, and I can resend to you. So no worries about the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the previous session, there was mentioned this music and media, and in Finland mostly for indie music, some jazz, some world music, but mostly for indie professionals. And I know I was just recently in Tallinn Music Week, which was really nice event in beginning of April, and all the genres, indie, good jazz program, good folk and world program, and also for international acts. And then in Finland we have very special festival, Folklandia cruise from Helsinki to Tallinn. It's a cruise for 24 hours. You cannot escape. It's full of music, but all the Finnish festival bookers are there. And of course, it's hard to find them. But if you know somebody from Finland, we are willing to help you. But it's a lot of fun and a lot of good music and very special event. And then in Sweden, there's a Swedish folk music gala, and Norway, of course, Folkelarm, which has been already many years. I've been attending there many years, and it's a good small one, very good one to start with. And Tampere Jazz Happening, it's a good jazz festival where they have this international professionals program as well. Anything else? But I highly recommend also the EGN. We are Anna-Maja Music Company's member, and it's really worth of every euro you put. It's a great network.
This year it's in Poland in the last weekend of September.
Yeah.
In Wrocław.
And it's the Polish showcase. Every year the host country has the showcase program.
I think the dates are the same of the Mercat Música Viva Dedic, I think. I don't know if I'm wrong. Colleagues from the Mercat, are you here?
Oh, the next week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, it's enough for the future. Yeah, I would like to ask you something that we have talked about in the first panel, and it's one of the subjects, the topics of these conferences, is like the Nordic scenes as a whole. Is that true? No, we have listened to the advice for our colleagues in the first panel, and I want to connect this also with the work of the music export offices. Also, is it true with the brand of Scandinavia? You have your experience there. Alice you have also said something about it, and I would like to if you want to share with us.
It might be a little bit kind of the same what I said before, but because you could see in your strategy, as talking also as a manager, when you make your plan, you want to conquer a new territory. Well. Of course, if you're going from Spain so far north, well, you have to consider making a plan for for Denmark, Sweden, Norway. But again, the way you approach those countries will be different. You want, if you want to have PR, you would have to try and pick one in each country if you really want to do it properly and get the money back in a way that you've paid for it. And don't think that the media in Denmark is read by the Norwegian and so on. Yeah. And even in Norway, because it's a so big country and the distances, between Oslo and Bergen, for example, as I'm representing the West Coast, I could say that. It's like 8 hours. 7 hours drive, and it's like 50 minutes by plane. So people don't really, if it's not like the big star, they don't go see shows in each cities. So and the scenes are a bit different in Oslo and Bergen. That's why I think Norway, depending on what music you're trying to get in Scandinavia, could be interesting to see while you're there. If you're playing in Oslo, is it something worth doing? Is it also Bergen? Oh, should you try to play in Bergen first before you try to go to Oslo? Because city is smaller. Talked about that in the break with Sten Ove, who's talking after. There's so many shows in Oslo, which is a good thing, but at the same time, there's a lot of things happening at the same time. Bergen, you can easily get an overview of what's happening that night and what you would. And in Bergen, you have a lot of promoters, which is that the venue is not booking directly. Then you would have a promoter that actually people know, maybe knowing that this promoter is setting up this band in this venue that day. It would be different than just checking the venues what they have on their lineup. Yeah. So I don't know if I got a little bit lost in my speech, but yeah.
Riitta?
Yeah, maybe I can give my numbers now because in the previous session you didn't mention Finland, or you mentioned, but we are not part of Scandinavia. Yeah, that's geographically true, but we want to be part of West, but we are a very important country when you are heading to East as well. We are very close to Tallinn, Baltic countries. There's only 2 hours ferry ride from Helsinki to Tallinn, and there's every hour almost there's a ferry there. And our market is very small. We are only 5 million people, so it's half from Sweden.
It's the same as
Same as
Norway.
Norway.
Yeah. And our music business turnover in total is 856.2 million euros, which is 50% live, 31% education, 10% copyrights, 7% from record sales, and 3% grants, public grants. And then our export is 42%, 42 million euros, so very little compared to Sweden, which is our role model. I think we try to copy you. And in our radio, I think that these numbers are quite small. When I talk to Minna, that in radio they play 29% only domestic music, and in TV it's only 16%. And but in live business, the domestic numbers are 78% is Finnish music, so it's quite high. And what was the question?
I was wondering if you want to share something about Music Finland, as an
yes.
example of a music export office, and even more if you want to share with us something about NOMEX, that NOMEX is the Nordic Music Export Program, what
Yeah.
you can...
I think that in indie music, NOMEX has started to work, I think, better in recent years. They have some projects, for example, this Ya club in London, and now it's also
in Germany,
in Berlin
Hamburg.
as well, Hamburg as well.
Yeah.
And now they are doing some actions together to export in Hokuo Music Fest in Japan. And I think was it this year first time in US as well.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. And so South by the Southwest, where they're together, something. But in world and jazz, unfortunately, not yet. And we should collaborate a lot more when to exporting together. But of course, in Jazz Ahead and WOMEX, we have the same area. We want to show out that we are together, but we don't have such a brand yet together. And I don't know what is the
And I was just
intention?
thinking about not bringing bands from Spain to Norway, but if there's any venue, festival promoters that are interested in knowing more about the bands and what's happening in Scandinavia, you can contact the export office or NOMEX, and they in different festivals they invite like Øya Festival in Oslo. They also have a B2B part, Øya International. So if you're interested to be invited, maybe you could take contact with them. So yeah, if you want to meet the business, maybe if you're a festival, it's a good idea too.
Yeah, I was curious because they have been working in the UK and also in Germany with the Ya program, and I don't know if maybe it's too much to ask you if they are also open to discover new markets or could be interested in attending to the south of Europe.
I don't know at the moment that what is the strategy, or if they are heading more to Japan and US.
Yeah,
It's because it's also a limited number of money, so and also I think that what are the targets of the musicians and bands? It has to go. They have to serve the business.
I think they would fund, like if I would have an artist that would be booked in a few festivals in Spain, I would ask for funding to travel funding, and then they would support that. But I don't think they have, as you said, they can't have like offices in the whole world. They have to choose the markets that are biggest and where they can get money.
Yeah, I was wondering more than offices, maybe a special project. It's like, okay, now we want to connect with the professionals and make it B2B in an event or in Mercat de Música Viva de Vic or in Primavera Sound or in other events like in Ripperbahn, they are working there? Or?
Yeah, I think this is people's business, so I think it goes through people. And when you know and you have a good idea and you share it, and then you start to plan and apply money from somewhere, it can happen. Yeah. And also the Music Finland, it works similarly than in Norway, that they, for Finnish bands, they can give 50% support for the bands, touring support or PR support. It's depending on the project, and there's a lot of different funding, which is too little time to explain all here.
Last year in San Sebastian, the Norwegian festival Punkt was invited. It's a festival that happens in Kristiansand, south in Norway, and they specialize in remixing concerts. So the whole concept was invited to San Sebastian, and they did 3 nights in the big hall and got funding from Music Norway and from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that was a special thing that happened last year. So it's possible to do that kind of stuff. And also Norwegian musicians has played both in Vitoria, here in Barcelona, and at San Sebastian, and got funding in Norway. That's the export side of it. Not much import so far.
And I would like you to ask also regarding, when you are interested in hire an artist, not local artist, regarding the budget. How do you, does the promoter or the band to invest money, which are the percentage? Because yesterday night we were talking about a little bit, no? It's like which part is from the government, which part could be for private initiatives. So regarding music, and also how do you found the festivals itself? Yeah, Jan, I think it's for you. It's for you.
Yeah, I mean, we are funded by the government for my venue, but on top of that, we need funding from those coming to us, at least those bands and artists that are not well known. So if a band from Spain or the Netherlands or France shall play my venue and they don't have an audience in Oslo, they mostly need some funding, maybe for travel, to make it possible to come up here, up to Norway. And first of all, it has to be high quality and good music and something special. You don't book a band just because they have some money in the pocket. It has to be top-notch things. We have a special program at Victoria called Unheard, where we present new upcoming talents. Up till now, it's been mainly Norwegian or Scandinavian bands, but we have also invited bands from other countries. They get a small fee, they get hotel, and they get the possibility to play for an audience. So that's a way to break into the market.
Okay. I don't know if you want to add. No. I want to ask you, Alice, as you are working with new bands, new talents, do you work also with international artists and bands, or are you open to discover new talent abroad?
Yeah, so started with Belgium because I know the bands a lot. And actually, what I forgot to say is that I'm going to Wonderland won't exist after the summer. It would be something else, and we will be 3 people, and that's why we want to be able to work more on this like emerging thing and yeah. So it's the same. It's all about good music and something special. I won't say yes. I work with this project because it's good. I would have to see an opportunity for them. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm not only. I mean, on this part, I would be happy to hear about anything. I mean, even I'm not really working with classical music, but there's somebody who has a really good like special project. I'd be happy to hear, and there's a lot of different festivals that might sometimes want to have that on a special program because they're having big festivals and they want to have special production for their own festival. If somebody has an idea, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not doing this before I've heard about it, and totally. It's all about good projects. I think.
And I was curious also, Alice, about you have Ahoy. It's a digital label.
Yeah, well, it's really, as I said, it's really new.
Okay.
So that was just like a springboard.
Okay.
So it's really, really starting now, and that's the thing that I would like to use more time to with the new company.
Okay.
It's more for them, for those who we spoke about, the people that are unhappy about their distribution because they don't do anything in other countries. Is, for example, because I worked with a band that did not have any label or distribution. They had like Benelux, and then they had Germany, and they wanted to get the music available. So I said, okay, well, I'll be happy to help you with that. I have a good distributor that I use with the band I manage, and then I could help present it and then do the consulting thing. But it's not. I'm not calling it a label on the normal term, because it's more like a springboard to get the music out if it's needed. Because I think I would prefer them to get a label that do the whole label work. But if that's what they need, that's possible, and I can forward it to the distributor that's doing a good job.
Super. So I think I want to introduce a new topic. We were talking about that in the pausa. It's the education. I think education is quite important regarding music. And how do you feel that? What's your point of view in the Nordic countries? It's like a big effort in the kids to let them know what music. I don't know. That's something to connected directly with the music business there. After, with the fans, with the consumer of music. What's your point of view about that?
You want to start? I think I didn't understand the question.
It's like the educational system about music.
Yeah? That where to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh. I think in jazz and world music and classical music, and I think in all, live is very important, and of course in indie and mainstream mostly radio, but I don't know, young people, they don't consume CDs anymore, but if they really like the band live, they might buy the CD. I don't know, I have 12 years old daughter, she doesn't care about CDs anymore, so everything is in Spotify, and I'm not very specialist in this.
What we learn more and more is that the musicians bring the CDs themselves, and they sell a lot at concerts. And some of them are on small independent labels that are not on Spotify or Vimp or anything else. Rune Gramophone, ECM, Hubro is now sometimes in, sometimes out. So they sell a lot of records at the venues, and I think it's more and more of it. I spoke with Manfred Eicher, who has been selling records all over the world in record shops, and he said it's more and more important that the artists bring the music out together at the live venues.
Because there's no record shops anymore.
Hardly any record shops.
Yeah.
And in Norway it's been, even if it's small, still the vinyl sales is going up a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And regarding media, in the first panel they talk about that. It's crucial to be connected, to be in the radio, to work in the Nordic countries. I don't know if you want to share with us any other name or blogs or like media or PR agencies that could be very useful to connect with the fans there, or well, the audience and to work there.
I have done some PR for Finnish folk music bands, and I think 30 copies is enough to cover all Finland. To really point out and send the good material. 30 copies is really good, and then you call after that, did you get the CD? And then there's no point to send hundreds of them. But then if you hire a PR company who knows the market and who knows the people personally, then you can get really good results. And there has to be a good story that if you come for a tour or release an album, it's not the news. There has to be something else.
Yeah, we hardly get any press from the national media anymore. So it's blogs and Facebook and things like that that spread the message. I mean, we present a lot of big international names, and we hardly get any press throughout the years. It's much easier when you're a festival. When you're doing things on a regular basis, it's super difficult. And we were talking about Facebook in the session earlier. Snarky Puppy, the American band, is a Facebook phenomenon. 5 years ago, nobody knew them in public. It was just a Facebook thing. When we had the first show in Oslo on sale, before making an ad, they sold 100 tickets just because the band sent out the message that we are playing Oslo. So that's how many bands work now to promote their thing. And be patient, work steadily on promoting the things through these medias. And in Norway, we have a couple of blogs doing things on jazz, but mainly the big names they are talking about.
Yeah, I think again, PR, difficult to mention because it depends what sort of music you're trying to sell.
That's true.
But
it's a huge one. Yeah.
And also the target group and age group you are targeting at. It's really important to focus. And that's why I think that if you are a newcomer, getting a festival gig could be very good and important, because people are following certain festivals that, like Helsinki Festival in Finland or Flow Festival in Finland. That's how people discover new music in folk and world and jazz.
Yeah, I think so too. Festivals are often also more open to have on their, well, depending on the festival and what kind of music. Of course, we're talking in Sweden, there are a lot of Live Nation and so on. But I think in Norway, there's a lot of festivals that might be open if it's if there is something special to the music, if it's a good band, even if they're not well known, could have a try on the band if they've seen them somewhere. Cool. And then if you do a good strategy with a PR around that, maybe you can build something.
The first time I worked with Julio, who is in the audience, it was in 2007 with Esperanza Spalding. And no one in Norway knew about her. But just a photo of her attracted the ticket buyers. So we sold 2 houses, and everyone in Norway started to talk about her. And then she played the Nobel Peace Prize concert as Obama's special guest, and then it just exploded. And I think the small things she did in Molde first was so important for her in this market. And she had a story and a quality.
I don't know if you want to share anything else before we open the micro.
I think it was very good that you mentioned the photos. They are so important because people are in festivals and in media, they are visual. So if you put a lot of effort doing a good music, you should also think the visual side. Because if good photo can add up to the poster, the program sheet and the front page, you get a lot of visibility through just a good photo.
So, time for you, guys. Any questions? Yes?
Can I mention one thing?
Sure.
This has been in my mouth. I want to split it out. About education, that because there's a people about in jazz and world music that there's a lot of schools in all of these countries that if you get a gig there, remember to also contact the local university or the conservatoire if you are able to teach or have a workshop, because then you can little bit finance your accommodation or tour just by teaching. Yeah, now I have said.
Super. Maybe I invite Julio to share the experience.
About that?
Yeah. If you want.
Well, finding partners like young Ole is,
One moment.
right. No, I was saying what he says is true, but it's because we were talking earlier, there was a pretty solid teamwork there. Finding partners who are supportive and are willing to take risks. it's a big deal of it. Also, the thing about what Alexander was saying about the festivals that can give you a huge visibility. But in that very case, Janola, that was a small label, because actually the biggest had turned her down. But there was a very committed guy from a small label who actually wanted to take a plane and come here and talk to every distributor that he had in Europe and said, this is my girl and I want you to work on it. Because that's the deal I have with you. And again, as Janola said, it took years for that to actually work, and in that case it worked, but then again, you have no guarantees. It's how solid your work, the work you can manage to put together is. Which is why I was asking the question before, because not having the right partner, or a partner who is committed, is what can make a difference. Because you don't see, I was telling one of the colleagues earlier today, you don't know the dynamics of each market. You don't know how it evolves. I can have a memory of how certain territories was 5 years ago, but maybe the club that was there, the radio that was there, or how the markets had evolved, is something that I don't see. I see what it happens here, hardly. But if you have an agent or you have a label who is involved, who's supportive with the project that you have, he can give you immediate feedback about saying, you're making a wrong decision, don't go that direction because that's outdated. You're handling old information. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I ask you, what's your job?
My job?
Yeah. What's your role?
As many of us, go moving and trying to learn how to do different things. Nowadays I'm working for an institution here, it's mostly a school.
Okay.
I had worked in management here for 12 years. I worked as a promoter earlier on in South America.
Yeah, because my idea is, of course, everybody wants somebody that's committed, or is it a label, an agent, and we hope that they like your act and so on. But as a manager, I can say that I'm not waiting. I don't expect them to do their work, even if they have to, in a way. So I think I try to ask questions, and I think that anyway, having an agent or having a label is not the end of something. It's just the start of a lot of work. Either you're an artist or you're a manager, or the person that is coordinating all the people you work with, all your partners, has also work to do, which is motivate them, or being proactive and exchanging. Because even if I don't have all the answers, because I don't know that territories that well, and I rely on the agent or on the label, I want to know what I have to do, because I have to work to do too, and then I would try to ask questions and how can I help you do your work better, and so on. So I think it's also an important part is to give them the opportunity to work, and then that could be a great and in a great partnership. So where everybody's committed. Yeah.
And I think that the world has changed a lot in Finland as well in 5 years. Nobody is willing to take any risks anymore. They mostly book the big acts when they can guarantee that they get the tickets sold. But I really loved in the previous session that think small, start from small and do it differently, create a story, what to tell, and what grabs the audience attention. Maybe it comes through Facebook or through people, not through PR or through media. So, and never give up. If you want to go somewhere, never give up. It's just, if you play in a showcase, the results may come in after 3 years or 5 years. So it's a risky business, but don't give up.
Riitta, do you want to explain the story of the girl touring in summer with the bike?
Yeah, there's a folk music fiddle player in Emilia Lajunen who tried to sell her gigs several years. She studied in Sibelius Academy, And you know, with the same repertoire and no results, no tours in Finland. But one day she said she really loved bicycles. And one day she got the idea that I will ride my bicycle to every single festival and, you know, do my tour that way. And then she got like 40 gigs during one summer. And I can't remember how many thousand kilometers she was riding her bicycle, but a lot. And her husband is a media guy, so he was writing a blog. They got a lot of attention. They were in all medias, TV, radio, local newspapers, not global. Oh, I think global as well. I can't remember. But anyway, it was a big thing last summer. But there was a story. And, you know, with the same repertoire, same talent, she just took the bicycle. But the media? Of course. Yeah.
But that was the excuse. But also that was the theme, the storytelling, no?
And
to
not
PR.
like the mainstream. It wasn't the culture media, but the normal newspapers wrote about it. It's a phenomenon. Yeah.
So, more questions? Here.
Hi.
Please, can you say your name and?
Yeah, my name is Albert Villa. I'm from a performing arts company from Maluga. And I wanted to ask, what's the average between the public funding for venues, theaters, and so how important is to make the money out only from the tickets, or if there's a public funding obviously for theaters? So how much? So we can have an idea of what can be the income that that a company or band can do out from there, depending on what is the circuit. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm explaining well. Is correct my question? Yeah. So what is the average funding from that? I understand probably from a jazz club maybe the public funding is quite low, so everything comes from. I'm not sure. I'm just asking if it's coming mainly from the tickets, from the ticket sales, and then from a theater. How is that importance and out of it?
You want to start?
I mean, in Norway, public funding is important, but it differs a lot. On the festivals, we have 15 festivals that are kind of focus festivals in Norway, one within each genre, and they get quite heavy funding from the government. And then there is a lot of smaller festivals that get less funding or nothing at all. And there is a mix of funding from the government, from the local city, or from the county. And then for the venues, some venues have permanent funding, like the venue I'm running. Other venues get funding after application. So it's hard to say how big the funding situation is, but it's a quite good situation in Norway still.
And what about the theaters? Is this like more public funding there usually, or it's something?
All the big theaters have public funding. Then we have regional theaters that get also quite big funding, and then you have the free groups getting smaller funding. So it differs a lot.
Mina?
I can maybe respond for the Finland behalf. So my name is Minna, I'm from Helsinki Festival. For the festivals, we are maybe the average, which means that like third of the income comes from the government. Then there are smaller festivals which are considered to be quite prolific and important to keep alive. They get more than 60%. Then there are those who get none. Of the venues, it varies a lot depending whether it's like a rock club or a small venue for jazz or world music. There are some which are relying totally on the ticket sales. Then there are only few which get some funding, and that's mostly if they have some kind of continuous local concert series going on. For the theater concert halls, nowadays they are very much depending on the outside producers who bring in the content. They hardly ever produce anything themselves anymore because they need to get the money in, and that means they have outside promoters, publishers, big players like Live Nation to bring in the events. You basically hire the theater for your concerts. The biggest ones, they hardly ever do anything on their own expense anymore. So also in that respect, like in Norway, the funding varies quite a lot, from a small amount to a great deal of your income.
And if a small local cultural house, they take your band, you might get 1,000 euros, maximum 1,500. But mostly they offer the ticket split, 60-40, 70-30 from the ticket sales. But in my experience, if I tour a Finnish band, and the total budget for 6 concerts is 12,000 euros. Half of that money is 6,000 is from the artist, funded by the MES, local independent foundation, and or from the state arts council. So the artists, they all the time they apply money for their projects, and they finance partly their tour by themselves.
Yeah. More questions? I would like to ask you if you have experience like touring in the Nordic countries, any of you? I know, yeah, Sudaka, I know it. Do you want to share with us your experience and where you were performing, just to let you know? I think it's interesting. And anyone else? No? Yeah? Okay. Carmina, later. If you want.
Hello, my name is Rogue. I'm managing and booking a band from Barcelona, which is called Sudaka. And we had some very positive experiences in Scandinavia, mostly in Sweden, where we toured many years. We did festivals in Stockholm, Malmö. We are this year in the beginning of June, I think, in Bergen, in Norway, the international festival in Bergen. And our experience is that there's like a big potential for Latin American or Mediterranean music in Scandinavia, but it's very difficult to go there. It's like a big wall of problems from the coastings to the real context there and everything. When the band is playing there, many people come and say, why aren't you not coming more often to Scandinavia, or why are there not more bands coming to Scandinavia? So I think it's the point is you have to get the foot in the door, and once you are there, things get easier somehow. Or you see that people want to hear you again, they want you to tour again, but the biggest problem is to get in there first. Because I mean, as it's so difficult to go there, very few bands really can tour Scandinavia. So there's maybe more expectation from the audience than offer, more demand than offer, somehow to say. But also the problem is that in Scandinavia there's a very big domestic market, and I think that the domestic product is very important in Scandinavia, maybe even more than in other territories. So that's the point. I mean, we love Scandinavia, and that's why I'm here also to make new contacts and to go on working there. But it's difficult to go there. But I can really recommend everybody to try to get in there, because it's a market where there's money. If you can make a name, if you can get your audience, it's a quite safe market, where you can tour again and again and again. I don't know if there's any concrete question what to tell more, but yeah, people love this kind of music there.
Is it Festspillene you're going to in Bergen?
I don't know. I think the name is Bergen International Festival. It's the beginning of June.
Should be this, yeah.
Yes, and the point in the case of Sudaka is they have this story to tell. I mean, they come from South America. When they came to Barcelona, they were illegal immigrants without papers, playing on the street, etc. So in this case, for instance, in Bergen, we also do a kind of a cooking workshop, which we did at other festivals already, where they have kind of a mix of the band is cooking, playing acoustic songs, and talking about the history, which is also a very nice event and brings you closer to the audience. And you can mix. I mean, it's also part of our philosophy to mix the music with the message. So that's something which also might help, that you're not just another band coming, but you're a very special band coming, and you can tell a little bit more than other bands.
Cool, thank you for sharing. So, anyone else? Because we have time, or if not, Carmina, yeah.
Hi,
please.
I am Carmina Escardó from the Drum Agency in Barcelona. I have a multidisciplinary agency, so I am working with the music deals with dance, circus, and street theater. So I have worked too in world music, but I was a little bit tired from too many concurrency with music. And then we are now working more with musicians with dance and circus performance. So we have made, for example, we were with a performance with 3 musicians in the Stockholm International Stockholm Festival. And we were there because the organizers, they came to Spain, to Catalonia. They came to Fira Tàrrega. It was, I think, a focus point with Nordic countries. And this is very good for us when our country, Catalonia, gives us the opportunity to receive the organizers to see the performance of the concerts. So we have different fairs. And this is really very, very important because perhaps with music, only music is easier just to listen. But when you have music and performance, then the organizers, they wish always to see the performance. So for us, it's more difficult. But one thing that is, I think it's very interesting is that more and more in dance performance, in circus performance, street theater performance, there is live music. And very good live music with very good composers. And I think this is really very good too in relation with the audience. Because the audience is looking to live music direct. So another thing that was good, this is so very important to have the opportunity that the organizers come here to see what we do. And another thing that is very, very important is to create a network because it's very expensive for us to come to the Nordic countries. And it's true that sometimes we can have some travel subsidies, but not always. And for example, if it's music with performance, sometimes it's with material and we need to go with a truck and then it's really very expensive. So it's necessary to arrive to have to combine festivals that we can go there and to play just not only for one festival to make a combination from festivals. I think it is an experience with Malmo and there is 2 names that it's very near. I think in Denmark or in Sweden. In South,
Copenhagen.
There is 2 festivals they are working together, and this is very good because there is a little network that is possible to do Denmark and Sweden. Okay, that's all. But anyway, it could be fantastic if we can go more, not Nordic countries.
Is there any good show tonight?
As far as I know, there are a lot. And we are going to have like a meeting point in Hotel Pulitzer. You know, you are all of you are invited from 10 p.m. So we can, in a more informal atmosphere, share more thoughts and ideas, show music, wherever you want.
I want to add one thing, that in Finland we have this certain scene for flamenco music. There's flamenco festivals, I think 2. Many, yeah.
And also flamenco guitar festivals.
Yes.
Very niche.
Yeah, and also if you play tango, we have it was born in Finland. So tango festival as well, festivals. Mm-hmm. And I think the collaboration, which was mentioned before, it's a very good way from the artist level. Get to know the Finnish musicians and go to exchange and.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Before finishing, I would like to share with you that I'm sure that you know about this. This is a tool. It's a little bit old, but we have it in internet, in our website, Creative Catalonia. It was a study that was made from our team and the team from Accés, and it's a focus study about the music in the Nordic countries. So here you can find, we have been checking a little bit, and some of the data, it's not it's not update, but most of them I think could be very useful to enter in the market. So if you don't find it in the website Creative Catalonia, just ask me or our colleagues and we will send it to you, the link. So I think it's also a good tool to continue. Okay, last opportunity to say something. Yeah, Xavier, all for you.
I have maybe a very silly question, but I think it has to be made. We come from the south and we want to travel to the north, and I guess that maybe winter is the worst time of the year to tour all around your countries. Is it true that and in winter it's difficult to move around and to tour, the activities maybe slow down and very concentrate in summer, or it's a false impression?
I don't think so. If it's because, for example, in Norway you will fly anyway. You won't take the car. There's no point in that. So, and there's more. You have actually some festivals in the winter. I mean, depends what you call winter, but I mean the autumn, winter, November, October, yeah. So there's festivals, but also a good time to do venues.
I mean, from May until August, it's a lot of festivals all over Norway. And from September until next May, it's a lot of things happening at venues. If you are traveling by car, it's of course difficult in the winter. It can be difficult with trains, with planes as well, but normally touring in Norway is flying. In the summer, it's no problem driving around, but it can be long distances. If you're going to Bergen, it's 8 hours from Oslo. If you're going to Stavanger, it's the same. If you're going to Trondheim, it's 8 hours. So it's long distances by car. You can find spots in between, but it's quite difficult.
And in Finland, there's July, from midsummer, end of May, end of June until mid-August or end of August, it's a festival season. And in Finland, you drive. You don't fly from city to city, and it takes time as well. And if you are touring in winter, you need to know how to drive in icy roads.
Yeah.
Just to answer
Anders?
for Denmark, it's really no problem to go by. Thank you very much, sir. It's really no problem to drive around. You don't fly because it's a small country. During the summertime, you have to play festivals because almost all venues are closed at that point. But during the winter, it's really no problem to drive.
And when I was talking about festival in November and so on, it's more, of course, it's club festivals, so it's indoor. So there's no problem. Electronic music, for example, and so on.
So all year long, we can perform there. So many things. Now it's time to have a break for lunch, and we are meeting here again at 4 p.m. So, and remember, in case you cannot attend this afternoon, we have another meeting point tonight at 10, from 10 p.m. in Hotel Pulitzer. So thank you very much.
Thank you.